All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to today's event. My name is Alina and I run digital marketing and customer support here at QUBER. If you're just tuning in today, you are likely joining us. All right, everyone. Sorry, everyone. If you're joining us today, you are probably already familiar with QUBER and our Save to Win contests. But if not, QUBER is Canada's best money-saving app. So we work to help Canadians grow their savings by offering them access to the QUBER Vault. So the Vault is a secure account that allows users to grow their savings in a place that's just arm's length away. So if you've ever had issues with impulsive spending, QUBER might be exactly what you need to help you grow your savings. One of the fun features we offer our users is Save to Win. So Save to Win is basically a lottery, but instead of paying to participate, you actually save money to participate. So users, for every $20 a user saves in our QUBER Vault, we offer them one draw ballot. So the more you save, the more ballots you earn. And we gave away $5,000 in prizes already this past year. And we are here today to give away our grand prize of $5,000. So we are super excited, and we'll be doing that at noon today. But we wanted to take today as an opportunity to do more than just that. So we are going to create a forum where people can share financial advice to kind of prep us for the year ahead. We also just really wanted to thank our user base for all of their support. And we are also going to make a few exciting announcements about what you can expect to see in QUBER over the next little while. So today on the panel, I've gathered a few different people. So we've got Kim and Michelle, who you may remember from our QUBER user profiles for our Money Talk series. We've got Khaleel, who is a financial advisor with Sun Life, and we've got Jen Legere, who is one of QUBER's co-founders and the person who came up with the idea for QUBER. So today the five of us are going to be kind of sharing about all things personal finance. And we will have an open question segment at the end. So if you do have a question for anyone, if you want professional financial advice on one of your questions, you are free to message in using the comments, and we will get to them closer to the end of the event. But first, I'm going to start by turning things to our two QUBER users we have online. So Kim and Michelle, like I mentioned, you guys may be familiar with them already, as I interviewed each of them for our Money Talks user profile series. So Kim and Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate having you online. And I'll start with you, Kim. What are your financial plans for 2021?
2021 is just to carry on home renovations that I have been doing since 2019 now, thanks to QUBER, because I became a sole homeowner in 2018 after my separation. And I had to figure out where my money was going, how I was going to manage this household alone, and how to not live off pennies. So I used 2020's slower life pace and lockdowns to save up for renovations that I accomplished in the year. You're never done renovations, so I still have like 100 to do. My next one is actually my bedroom. I want to tear out my second closet and make some sort of TV nook with decorations and some storage. So what I'll be doing is saving up 3 different jars. I'm actually doing the $5,000 in 52-week challenge that you guys have. So when I'm done that, I will pay off my only bank loan. So in October, I will have no debt except for my mortgage, which is the goal. I'm planning my 2021 Christmas already. I've opened a holiday jar. I'm only putting $20 bi-weekly in it. So I'll have about $500, $550 for Christmas next year, which is brilliant, or this year. Because this year I went shopping pretty much stress-free with the $500 that I had saved up in 2020. So I just went to the mall with $500, bought everybody what I wanted, and there's actually money left for me. So it was good. And I had no credit card debt this year in January for Christmas. So it's all the little amounts that add up. The $20, the $5, the rounding up for my purchases at Tim Hortons every morning, It's just the little amounts. So I'm going to use 2021 as a practice run for biweekly payments. So the $200 that I'm putting biweekly for my $5,000 is going to be my practice run for a car. I want to get a brand new car in 2022. Awesome. And it's a lot easier to hold off the QUBER or pause it to figure out if I can balance a new car payment next year.
Awesome. So lots of good stuff then. And yeah, I can imagine that's so nice. Hey, just paying for Christmas and kind of moving on from that point.
It's done.
Awesome. Okay, so I will ask Michelle, same question. What are your financial plans for 2021?
Well, Jason and I bought our cottage this summer. So we moved in the summer and had to winterize it because our cottage is going to be our full-time home. So we had to put in a mini split and winterize underneath the crawl space and make sure that was all done. So a lot of that kind of continuing, like you said, it's never done, Kim, like there's always renovation. So we're going to be doing those things to kind of make it our own place. We actually bought it from my brother. So it kind of came from the family. So everybody knows it one way. And we're like, no, we want it to be ours, especially where we're going to be here all the time. So big piece there. And the other piece really for me with QUBER is, like you said, for Christmas, it was a game changer. I just set up the holiday jars, and then the more you did, you're like, oh no, I can do this. I can swing it, knowing that there's not going to be that extra money to pay out kind of at Christmas time or birthdays or whenever. So those are my big ones for sure. And I love just kind of all of the little things you can add up. So your purchases, the fitness challenge, I do that one too. Every time I hit my step goal, I throw $5 in, like super easy. And you don't notice that the money's going anywhere. It's just all of a sudden you've got a nice little bankroll at the end of the year. So it's a lot of fun.
You're so right. It's the kind of thing where like $5 could go towards a coffee every day, which you might not notice, or it could go towards your savings account, which will accumulate in a major way over a long period of time.
Well, working from home, I have no more coffee runs. I have no more gas. I have no, so all of that extra money has really been going into some sort of payment or some sort of savings. So it's been really good that way.
Awesome. Awesome. Jen, do you have anything to add here?
I just want to say thank you to Kim and Michelle for joining us today and sharing their story and being featured as a user story. Usually, people are kind of hesitant to talk about finances. It's always been kind of like this private thing that people don't want to talk about. And I think with QUBER, we really want to build this community where people feel comfortable to share and talk about. Everybody has some sort of a financial problem, in the history of their life. Some sort of emergency that they haven't planned for. And I just think like you guys have really stepped up and hopefully other people will also share their stories and help other people in our community. So thank you both.
Yes, thank you guys both for sure. So we're actually going to switch gears for just a second. We're going to give away 2 of our first prizes here. So we have 2 prizes, and these are for 2 of our most dedicated, engaged Facebook followers. And we just wanted to recognize them because their support does not go unnoticed with us for sure. So these 2 people are Tabitha Shepard and Angela Barabash. Thank you guys so much. We are going to send both of you a QUBER prize pack. So that will include some QUBER stickers. It will have a copy of The Wealthy Barber Returns, this QUBER canvas tote, and we're going to put $25 into the saving jar of your choice. So thank you guys again, and we will contact you later this afternoon to get your prizes on the way. We are also going to announce that for everybody tuning in, we're going to be running a contest today as well. So everyone who enters, comments on this post with a question for one member of our panel for our open segment, will have their name entered in a random draw for $25, excuse me. So even if we don't have time to get to your question today, your name will still be entered in that draw. And then we're going to randomize all those names and we will announce that winner on Monday. So please feel free to message in with your questions and we will get to them soon. But before we get to the open segment, I'm going to switch back to our panel here. So I'm going to introduce Khaleel. Khaleel is a Sun Life financial advisor and he is based in Moncton, New Brunswick. He is licensed to practice in New Brunswick and Ontario, and soon will be licensed in Nova Scotia. He's working on his license right now. So if you do want to set up a consultation with Khaleel after this session, we've made posts on QUBER's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter that have his contact information on them, or alternatively, you could also always just contact us and we'll pass along his info to you. But Khaleel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. So in terms of kind of trends for 2021, in regards to personal finance or financial literacy in Canada, do you have any kind of major predictions?
I think 2021, continuing from last year, I think now people have had some time in 2020 because of lockdowns, and people are focusing on financial wellness. And with the presence of apps like QUBER and lots of information out there, I think people are becoming more and more aware. I think last year there was a fundamentals of finance course that was introduced by McGill University. That was an online course. I thought that was excellent. They had 4 units. I imagine there's going to be more of those out there in the cyberspace.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, we will definitely keep an eye out for all of that as the year progresses. So as Cam and Michelle have both been pretty engaged in improving their financial literacy over the past couple of years, we wanted to give them the opportunity to ask you a question. So I will hand it over to each of them. Cam, you can go first.
I like working, but I'd rather retire. So my question is, what is the difference between a tax-free savings account and RSPs, and which is the better to use when you just have a normal person salary?
Okay, so great question, really. Something that comes up a lot. Every question you will ask me, I'll start with it depends, okay? Because it's such an individual situation. But overall, in general, you have to think of your tax-free savings account and RRSPs as investment accounts. Whatever you want to do within that account, you're allowed, as long as it's in a liquid format. The main difference is when you contribute to an RRSP, you have a tax break for that year of tax filing based on your tax bracket. So, for example, if you put $1,000 and you're at a 20% tax bracket, ideally you're looking at a tax break of $200, right? You have the opportunity to, it's given to you in cash format. If you want to go on a vacation, you can, but really the smartest thing to do is to reinvest the money, right? Because you're basically utilizing your own tax money and growing the money down the road. Does it make sense to do an RRSP at all times? Again, depends on tax bracket, depending on how long the money is for, what it's for, right? On a tax-free savings account, you can make the same contribution. There's a certain limit that is set by CRA every year that you can contribute. There is no tax break. However, all of the growth within your tax-free savings account is 100% tax-free. On the RRSP, it's tax deferred. You get the immediate tax break. You get the investment growth within your RRSP. But say you're now 60 years old and you're looking to start taking income out of that, that's when you pay your taxes based on your tax bracket then. So ideal scenario, you should put your money in RRSP when you're at a higher tax bracket and take it out when you're at a lower tax bracket, right? But it's all strategy, depending on how old you are, what your goals are. But in my opinion, if somebody's asking me for like general, without doing any analysis of their finances, you can always look at doing an RSP contribution, take the tax returns, put that into your tax-free savings account and grow it. So you're growing both assets, right?
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And Michelle. So Michelle, your turn.
So I have questions about credit card debt. I, like many people, I'm sure, have credit card debt, but this past year, just being home, I've really started to kind of look at it. I've got a spreadsheet, I've got things that I've kind of created myself going, I need to find a way to make sure I'm doing the right things. Yeah. With my work, we're with Sun Life, which is great. So we have we get some people that come in and advisors in to talk to us too. So I just want to make sure what I'm doing is the right step to kind of get that credit card debt down. And one of the steps that I think I've started, or this month I'm going to start, is I was increasing all of my payments on my credit cards, not just to be above the minimum payment. As I got more money, I would increase it. But I feel like maybe I need to focus one big payment on the highest interest credit card first.
Yeah,
and
you
leave
just
everything
go.
else?
That's a great strategy. Like
Okay.
that's primary that I would recommend is if you have a few credit cards, first off, past is a trap. Don't beat yourself up. You can only look forward.
Right.
So you've got credit cards. Look at what the interest rates are. Line them up. Figure out, are there any companies out there that offering like a 6 month interest free period? No problem. Like switch it. Try and reduce your interest rate as much as possible. And when you're looking at paying, start with the highest interest rate first, knock it down, and then take the savings from that and go roll it down.
Perfect.
But you have, if you keep an eye on it, for example, let's say you have $5,000 and you're making $400 a month in payment. There are tons of calculators. You can ask your advisors for calculator. You can use online calculators. It will give you an estimate of you're done in 2.3 years or you're done in 2.4 years. So
Right.
you can literally set yourself a target date and check if that gives you, motivation.
That's perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we are about to turn it over to our open segment. There's been a lot of viewer questions so far, so that's great. Thank you everyone for sending them in. But we are going to give away one more prize before we do that. So a lot of our users know we were running a contest this week on our Facebook asking everyone what their financial resolution was for the year. We had a lot of entries for that as well, so thank you for everyone who joined us for that. A lot of you guys are focused on saving more than you did in 2020, sticking to a budget more often, and paying off debt. So all good things for sure. But we, of course, had to pick one winner. So after we randomize all of our entries, our winner is, her name is Natalie Casey. So her resolution was she wants to set up a couple QUBER jars to save into because she wants to take a trip to Western Canada when COVID is over. So congrats, Natalie. You've won $50 towards the saving jar of your choice. And we will contact you later this afternoon to get that on its way to you. So thanks again for everyone who participated in our contest. And again, so for anyone who has just tuned in since I last noted, we are running a contest today as well. So everyone who enters or asks us a question for one of our panel members will have their name entered in a draw for $25. So even if we don't get to your question today, your name will still be entered and we will announce that one on Monday. But now we are going to turn it over to our viewer questions. So I am just going to be reading top to bottom on what was messaged in first. But remember, if we don't get to your question, you can always message Khaleel after this session using his contact info if you are interested in kind of getting more info. So Khaleel, our first question for you is, there are a lot of insurance products out there, and as a 28-year-old, I don't feel like all are relevant for me. So what would you say are must-have, insurance products for young people with no children?
Again, loaded question, depends, but we'll take a generalized approach. As far as insurance is concerned, everybody should have a little bit of life insurance, a little bit of critical illness insurance, disability, and a health plan. Those are the 4 key things for someone starting at 28. And luckily, when you work for certain employers, they do provide disability and health plan. So you really have to focus on the other 2. When it comes to life insurance and critical illness insurance, it can be structured in many different ways. It could be set up as permanent or as term. Really, you should look at your budget, talk to your advisor, figure out what's your current need and what will it transpire to down the road. And so your decision today on that will have an impact down the road as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Khaleel. So next, moving down the line, Odette and Heather, I do see your questions, but we will actually touch on your questions just before our draw. So we'll loop back around to that if that's cool with you guys. Our next question is from Lisa Smith, and she was wondering, have you been seeing a decrease in savings due to the fact that a lot of people are working from home, or an increase in savings? Like, have people been using that disposable income in other places, I suppose the question is, or have you been seeing a major push towards saving?
From my experience, I'm seeing a major uptick in savings. And there's lots of smart clients, smart people out there. And, when they're majorly savers and they're investors, when they saw that the markets were dropping, they tried to pull as much from their resources and invest it. Great decision if somebody could pull that off. But I find the savings have significantly gone up, mainly because in general, we don't have places to spend. We're not going out to restaurants as much, or a lot of recreational activities. I'm seeing a major uptick in savings.
Awesome.
Jen, are you guys seeing it from a user perspective? More people saving too? I wonder if that's kind of where the question's coming from too, right?
Yeah,
As a-
absolutely. And
Yeah.
we're definitely have seen an uptake. I think people kind of really got a good view into where they're spending their money,
Mhm.
whereas it wasn't quite so obvious before. Now it was like, wow, I have so much more money that I can put towards savings because I can't spend it on these things, right? So I think it was really an eye opener for people.
For sure. And I'm quite interested to see how this all going to work out down the road. Currently people, I think, are quite aware of where the money is going. But once the economy is open and we're no longer in the COVID situation, are a lot of people going to revert back to what it was before, or continue to be vigilant about, we work hard for money, we need it to work for us?
Yeah. Or just the fact that, it happened so suddenly this time around in the spring for a lot of people, that I think a lot of people maybe kind of have that memory in the back of their mind of saying like, okay, that we can't let that happen again, and being unprepared for an event like COVID. Yeah. I'll get to our next question. So our next question is from Kelly. So Khaleel, I'm self-employed, lower bracket, and I'm looking for retirement options down the line. Are index funds a good option for me?
Index funds are great if you want like a DIY project, or if you want something that you want to just let it go and you don't want to monitor. Index funds are usually lower cost funds, but you really want to focus on advice. If you're on the lower tax bracket, you probably have to get a little more creative in building your retirement savings, and not just the fund, because now it's a question of, is Rrsp going to work for you? How quickly are you going to max out your TFSA? What else are you going to do with the money? There's and what else are you investing in? Do you have rental property? Like there's so many options. Is in Index funds are good for people that don't want any active management in it. Will I recommend it? Again, depends on who it is and what you want, what your goals are, what's the timeline, right?
Right.
With the index fund, you're missing out on expertise, like fund managers who buy and sell in the background based on market trends. Index basically just follows an index. Basically, it's a passive sort of investment.
Perfect. Thank you, Khaleel. Our next question is from Haley. What is the most common mistake you see for the average person who is trying to decrease their debt?
Biggest thing that I find is that there is no plan of action. Just go into it, like how Michelle was asking that question. If you don't list your priorities and come up with your goal and a timeline, so many times I would see, okay, I want my credit line is bigger, I'll put it on the credit line, instead of looking at the interest rate percentage. Sometimes it makes sense to pay off your credit card with your line of credit, which is usually a lower interest rate, and then focus on paying that debt. Not having a plan is the biggest mistake that I see when it comes to debt management.
All right. Our next question is from Shauna. So for someone who has never owned or traded stocks, where is the best place to start?
So education is the key, right? So not a lot of people are interested in it, which is why large companies like Sun Life Financial and this Manulife, and there's so many different companies in Canada. There's 14,000 funds in Canada. These funds are pre-packaged for the benefit of everyday investors who don't have the time to read about the stock market. They need a professional managed solution. So while they're sleeping, money could be working for them, instead of having to take on a second job of managing their own money, so to speak, right? So I would say if you have no experience, mutual funds are a great place to start.
Perfect. All right, our next question is from Heidi. Heidi wants to know, how does one calculate their tax bracket? And other than what you can afford, is there a specific yearly amount that's ideal for a spousal RRSP?
It depends, as every question. But really, with the spousal RSP, you're looking at utilizing higher income earning spouses tax bracket, but build assets on for the lower earning spouse, especially if, for example, if the higher earning a spouse has a pension and other benefits. You don't want all the assets in that one spouse's name. So you want to distribute it within the family to manage the tax bracket down the road. If you want to take a look at tax brackets, you can talk to your accountant. There's lots of online calculators. I personally use one from Ernst & Young. I find it very detailed and it's broken down by province, quite accurate. This TurboTax has a calculator as well.
Perfect. All right, so I'm looking at our clock and we have time for one more question. So our last question for Khaleel is from Andy. I have a locked-in RRSP from years ago. I should not be able to access it until I'm 65. Is there any possibility of accessing some of those funds prior to then, obligated, or assuming that I pay them back, of course?
So locked-in RRSP is coming from an old pension plan. So when you left a company where you had a defined contribution pension or a defined benefit pension, it had to have to go into a locked-in retirement account. Now, there are ways to unlock the funds. It all comes down to what's the jurisdiction of the pension. So for example, if it's a New Brunswick pension, you're able to do a one-time unlocking in your lifetime. That money can go into an RRSP. That money can then be pulled out of the investment. You can't contribute back to a locked-in retirement account. Like I said, it comes from pension. You can't put it back in. So you're better off, if you're unlocking it, have a very good reason to unlock it because that's your one-time option. And if you want to put it back in, you're just going to have to do a regular RRSP or a tax-free savings account and just build your net worth.
Perfect. All right. So like I mentioned, we are just about out of time for questions. But before we get to that, I see that a lot of you are asking questions about whether we'd run an event like this to kind of go over QUBER features. And if that's something that you guys are interested in, we can definitely work on arranging that and talking about QUBER specifically and features within the app. So we'll make a note of that. So unfortunately, we are out of time for our question segment, and we are about to do our draw. We are at 11:59. But before we do that, I'm just going to turn it over to Jen. So she's just going to take a couple minutes to walk us through some of the stuff that you can expect from us over the next little while at QUBER. So I will turn it to you, Jen.
All right, I will try to be fast because I know everybody's waiting to hear who won $5,000. I just want to say a very quick thank you to Kim and Michelle again. Khaleel, thank you so much for joining us. I am sure everybody found your answers very helpful and hopefully they'll reach out to you with more questions. And Alina, thank you so much for organizing this event. You've done a fantastic job. Briefly, what we did last year, for those of you who don't know, I know a lot of people still have a lot of saving jars happening. We also have saving challenges. The difference between those two are that the saving challenges always earn you 2%. So we kind of relate it to the interest that you would get at a bank account. It's actually better than most bank accounts are offering right now. So for those of you who are saving for Christmas, take a look at our holiday challenge because you'll also get some extra incentives for doing that challenge. Upcoming for 2021. So one of the big things that everybody's been asking for is partial cash out. It's coming. It's at the very top of our list of priorities, so we will have that out to you very shortly. We also know that a lot of you want to learn more, obviously, based on the questions today about investments and other financial products. So Alina will be working with some of our partners to help educate more on that. I think, like Khaleel said, education is very important when it comes to these topics. So we will try to work with our partners to help get you educated and even be able to use, hopefully, the QUBER platform to be able to start putting some money down into these things. What else here? Oh, and another thing that we're working on is smarter predictions. So I don't know if those of you who have been with us for a while know we did an Ignite program last year where it was really helping people kind of see where they're spending their money, how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. So we want to automate that and offer that to everybody as well. So it's really, you know, you get paid here, here's all the things that are coming out, here's how much money you have left over. So we call it smart tech, and that's what we will be focusing on for the next year. One of our big announcements today is typically we move money to the vault for every $20 that you save. So you kind of accumulate $20 and then it moves to the vault. We are going to reduce that to $10 now. So you'll see money is moving faster now. So every $10 now that you accumulate, we will move that to the vault. And I think that really helps people who are living, you know, kind of not paycheck to paycheck, but just, you know, helping people easier manage their money and know what's coming out. And then finally, we have, of course, our Save to Win. Our Save to Win's been popular and we've been doing it for a couple of years now. So we just want to announce for 2021 what it's going to look like. So we were doing monthly draws. We're going to switch it to weekly draws. So we will be doing $100 weekly draws. And on top of those weekly draws, we will have some sponsors. So we already have a couple of sponsors coming up for January and I think the beginning of February. So on top of the $100, our sponsors will also be giving prizes. So we will announce that the week of that draw, and they'll be different throughout the year. If you are a business and are interested in sponsoring one of these draws, basically it's motivating people to save money. Contact us, please. We would love to hear from you. And we will be doing $1,000 giveaways every quarter from now on.
Yeah. So 2 grand prizes of $1,000. One will be at the end of March and the other will be at the end of June is what we have planned so far. And yeah, so we will have an updated schedule for the eligibility periods to earn ballots and then what those ballots will, when those prizes will be announced. We'll get that up for you guys before next week, but that our Save to Win actually has begun. So though you did not know it, the period between January 2nd and January 8th was actually our first week of ballots. So if you saved money during that period, you earned ballots toward our first $100 draw, and we will be doing those every Friday. So next Friday, January 15th is our first Save to Win prize announcement. But in general for the weekly prizes, so as this week was the week to earn ballots, it'll be 1 week after that we announce that prize. So it'll always kind of follow that format for weekly prizes. But now that we have said all of that, it is time to give away our $5,000 grand prize. So we are super excited to do this. This is really awesome. So in just a second, I know, I am going to click a button on my bin portal that randomizes all of the ballots that everyone has earned, and it's going to pick one winner. I apologize. I wish I could share my screen with you guys so that we could all see at the same time. But because of the way our admin portal is set up, it will also share personal information for that person, which we obviously do not want to do right now. But all right, here we go. The winner of our Save to Win $5,000 grand prize it's Stephanie Dugas of Moncton, New Brunswick. Yay! Congratulations, Stephanie.
Congratulations.
That's amazing.
Congratulations, Stephanie. We are so excited for you. And yeah, this is awesome. We really couldn't be happier to give you this. And one of the reasons, like, Save to Win are some of our favorite days at QUBER to give away these prizes to you guys. So we are so excited for you, Stephanie. Hooray!
Yay, good job.
So that is about all the time we have for today, everyone. I want to thank everyone who tuned in today, everyone who asked questions. Of course, our panel members, thank you for joining us today. Like I mentioned earlier, if you are interested in contacting Khaleel for a consultation, His contact information is available on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Or you could contact us directly. But he would probably be happy to answer a question or two for you if we didn't get to your question during the open segment. So thank you again, everyone. And we hope you have an awesome weekend. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thank you.